mature audiences. The views and opinions expressed are those of the panelists and do not reflect in any way those of the podcast partners, sponsors, or affiliates. Enjoy.
Is there a certain champion that you eventually want to get after? Is Deontay Wilder the champion that you're seeking?
That would be the dream fight against me and Wilder or me and Joshua. That's the main thing, man. I'm trying to get the belt. I want to become the first Mexican heavyweight champion of the world. There's never been a Mexican heavyweight champion of the world, and I'm here to seek and get it. I want to be in history. Opportunity. So,
BoxingVoice.com.
What broke him down? Was it just the body punching? I was hitting with body punching. I heard him after he was crying in there. You're saying that Biggs was crying when you hit him? Yes. When did that happen? And perhaps the fourth round on.
BoxingVoice.com.
So you knew you had him by that time. Absolutely, I knew he was touching and taking those punches.
Dazn Productions.
Making women gestures like,
Let's go, champ.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the Boxing Voice Radio. I am your host, Nestor Gibbs, joined alongside Michael Gross, and we are back to talk some breaking news. Anthony Joshua has his replacement opponent. Is it late? Is it early? Andy Ruiz steps in. Now, we've been hearing these rumors coming down the pipeline. It sounds like it's 100% official. Still tad bit of speculation, but when PBC on Fox comes out and posted, I want to believe that Fox isn't in the business of putting out propaganda. I need a rim shot soundbite right there, just in case. I know the Republicans or the Democrats, whatever, political body kind of runs Fox. I hear that one of those do. But regardless, we want to believe that Fox on PBC is at least being honest, and that Andy Ruiz has this fight. The banner you see on YouTube right now was released by them, and I think they're damn right disrespectful. How dare they? How dare they try to take one of Anthony Joshua's titles away, one of those accolades away, try to call this fight being confirmed as an IBF, WBO, and WBA heavyweight championship, forgetting that coveted IBO title. The man gained 4 belts. Let him rep all 4 belts. Vladimir did. Darchinian did. Gennady did. Chris Eubank Jr. did. The list goes on and on. Floyd Mayweather did. The list goes on and on. But this is what we're here to talk about. And as a special treat, we'll have the guy that you see doing pad work with Andy Ruiz on the screen. That's right. We'll have Manuel Robles, the new trainer of Andy Ruiz, the one that got him, or they went together to do battle to get that knockout versus Dermatrenko, right? But you know what it is. We're here to talk some boxing. Let's get into it.
BoxingVoice.com.
There's never any doubt in my mind because I'm the best in the world.
It was a part of me that wanted to go more rounds. I'm a fighter.
Dazn Productions.
I don't know who he was, but he's talking it. So I said, let me jump on the stage and fill in space.
Yo. How's it going? Yeah, Andy Ruiz is, being as much as confirmed as the next opponent or the step-in replacement for Jarrell Big Baby Miller. I'm not entirely sure how. I'll have to say I'm a little bit disappointed. Part of me thought after we did the Luis Ortiz show and his manager called in, part of me had some form of hope that it might still be something that could be salvaged. It seemed like they were still confirming opponents and he was still in it with it. Like the manager seemed like he still wanted that fight. Team Ortiz still wanted that fight. AJ's first name on the list was Ortiz. So I was kind of hoping for that. But, it seems to be Andy Ruiz. So, yeah, let's get into it.
Dazn Productions.
I speak it, believe it, receive it. Speak it, believe it, receive it.
BoxingVoice.com.
So when I stopped him, y'all gonna say he was too weak. He stayed out like 37 now.
Stand up for what he believes in, and when you stand up for accept whatever consequences come behind it. BoxingWords.com.
Yo. Welcome back to another edition. Man, big news on a Monday. Call it Big News Monday. AJ finally got an opponent. It may not have been who we thought it was. Michael Hunter was in the running. Ortiz was in the running. But only one guy made himself available. Andy Ruiz. So we'll talk about it. We'll break it down and see, does Andy really have a shot? Can Andy pull off the upset? I mean, let's face it, he is up against the wall, 5 weeks notice. There you and we'll get into it. What's going on, Nestor? What's going on, okay?
Well, I mean, the truth is, he was training. He had a fight. It only went 5 rounds, and he was immediately in the gym. I got some audio, and actually, the video is that video playing right there. I'll just look for the audio, to play it, because here we go.
Yeah, living back in the gym. About to get this fight going. June 1st. Let's get it. Just got done fighting Saturday. I'm back in.
So, he said he just got done fighting Saturday. He's back in the gym. It's Monday, June 1st. So it seems like he been knew what was going on. Maybe Eddie was trying to do boxing fans a favor and really try to get Luis Ortiz, and Andy Ruiz was a last option. But ultimately, it looks like he's getting the fight. He's got power, and he's gonna make the fight, right? I just don't know how much of a disadvantage he's gonna be at in terms of height and reach. And I didn't like the way that he looked in his last fight. He was a bit heavy. When we had him on the show, he was speaking as if he wanted to come in lighter. But that wasn't the case. But, I'll say this. Damani Rock just scored a second-round knockout on Friday night, and he was a 274 pounds. Big boys could get it in too, right?
Absolutely. I think Andy has a damn good chance in this fight. You know what I'm saying? He was training. He pretty much, in my opinion, has as much chance as the cheating Big Baby Miller did. I mean, let's be real. I mean, he fought Dimitrenko, who Brian Jennings beat up. I'm not putting much stock into Dimitrenko, but if there was one guy out there who was calling for this fight, who was demanding this fight, seemed like Andy was being very boisterous about it. And like Ned said, it seemed like he knew something before we knew something. He's up against the 8-ball, no doubt about it. But Mexicans are fighting pride, right? They have that extra gear that makes them fan favorite kind of fighters. And
I think that's why he got this fight. For all the reasons I thought he wouldn't get it, I guess I didn't open up my mind enough, put the thinking cap on. But the bilingual two demographics, I didn't bank on that. I thought him being Mexican and never fighting in the East, he couldn't draw. But I guess they're banking on him being Mexican, bilingual, being able to sell it in 2 different languages, opening it up to 2 different markets. So,
and I think the fact that AJ will be fighting in America, he's going to be willing to exchange more, because I think he wants to press for a knockout. So Andy might have a puncher's chance. But I see you shaking your head, Akon. Go ahead.
No. I agreed with what you said. I think he's the one that is most likely, obviously other than Ortiz, he's most likely coming to fight. I think what you said, Nez, you hit the nail on the head in terms of, I think the commercial side of things, he probably brought more of a commercial value in terms of he can actually bring out possibly the Mexican. I don't even know what his draw is in terms of bringing out the Mexicans or in terms of his reach with them, but it seems to make sense. If you listen to what Eddie Hearn has been saying in the interviews, he wants someone that believes they can knock out Anthony Joshua. And Ruiz, I don't know if he actually can, but I can kind of see that he's going to come forward. And too often with some of AJ's opponents in the past, they're always on the back foot. They're scared of kind of coming forward. and that would make for a more intriguing fight. So I just think I even looked on the BoxRec rankings actually, and actually if you look at the top 12 on BoxRec, all of the fighters, so the top 4 are either engaged in fights, have fights coming up, or AJ's actually beaten them, or they've turned down the fights. And that is including like Ruiz. So Ruiz is actually number 12 on BoxRec. So if you look at it, it's potentially the best available option out there other than Luis Ortiz.
Or other than people that have already said no to the fight, because Kovnacki would have been a better choice in New York City. But it's arguable that Andy Ruiz Jr. is the most qualified for the position. Big Baby Miller didn't hold a fight the caliber of Joe Parker. Mike, I know you like to give Dillian a bunch of credit for fighting Joe. How much do you give Andy for losing controversially to Joe Parker, and do you believe that makes him more experienced than Big Baby Miller coming into this fight?
Absolutely. I think at the time that he fought Joe Parker, both guys were pretty much at the same point in their career, kind of not really on their stage yet. But I do give credence to the way he fought against Joe Parker. He was there willing to exchange, and he had Parker kind of moving around the ring because some of those exchanges he was getting the better of them. But I want to ask you guys a question. What kind of potential hiccups can Andy Ruiz cause for Anthony Joshua to make this a more competitive fight?
One of the things that I actually looked at when I looked at some of Andy Ruiz's fights, he kind of comes rushing in at times. And I think when you looked at the Povetkin fight, I think Povetkin hurt Anthony Joshua's nose quite early in. I think there was a clash of heads. I don't know whether that is because Anthony Joshua tends to kind of struggle with people that are a bit smaller. Povetkin obviously is a higher caliber than Andy Ruiz, but I can see Andy Ruiz trying to make it a kind of rough fight in terms of using his advantage being smaller. Anthony Joshua fought small against Povetkin, so I don't know whether he's going to do the same when it comes to Andy Ruiz, but I can see Andy Ruiz making it physical in a way.
Yeah, that's what I'm expecting, him to make it a little rough and tough, but I seen him struggle with Alexander last week. And what I mean by struggle, not, I guess, in the traditional sense, but some of his shots seem to be getting deflected a lot. Like he didn't necessarily reach the target cleanly, because it's hard for him to either shoot that high or just to gauge the right distance. And I think he's going to have a similar problem with Anthony Joshua, who's what, 6'6", 6'7"?
Yeah, he's 6'6".
Yeah, I don't know, that it's going to be any easier than it was with Alexander, who is not on the caliber of Anthony Joshua. So I'm worried to see, like, what sort of game plan can he really mount. I'm expecting a body attack, but everyone knows you go to the body, you're leaving yourself open for Anthony Joshua's big right hand. So I don't know, man. I'm hoping he's going to make it a rough and tough fight. I just don't know how he gets it done when he's fought a smaller champion in Joe Parker once upon a time, and, he didn't rough him up. But we are going to get his trainer on, Manuel Robles. I'm going to cut out in the back. You and Mike can hold it down while I go ahead and connect him.
Okay, so Mike isn't actually here yet. Don't know where he's disappeared to. But, yeah, like I can tell some people will be disappointed with this. I think we all wanted a bigger fight or a bigger name in terms of a Luis Ortiz. I'm glad, though, that the public know what's gone on with Luis Ortiz's team, and them coming out and saying that they wanted this fight, but it's the promoter holding up the fight, so that there's no, I suppose there's no excuse in terms of, there's no built-in excuse to say, they were ducking Team Ortiz. This fight, when I look at it, Yep.
Sorry to interrupt. I'm back. I got the trainer of Andy Ruiz, Manuel Robles, formerly the trainer of Dominic Brazil, who's going to be facing Deontay Wilder. But obviously, Manny, the news is breaking. PBC on Fox posted it, a nice little banner saying that Andy Ruiz has got the fight. The fight is confirmed June 1st. Joshua, all the belts, IBF, WBA, WBO, IBO. And your guy, Andy Ruiz, getting another title shot. What could you tell us?
Yeah, well, I excited about it. I'm pretty pumped up about the whole situation. It's a blessing in disguise for the entire team. Very unexpected, of course. As you know, Andy just fought a little bit over a week ago, so he's in great shape, still is. He hasn't taken a day off. Even after the fight versus Joshua, he went right back in the gym. You just never know. You might get that phone call. Your number may come up, and as you know, it did. So now we got to get ready for it.
Now, how early did you know? Because obviously we follow Andy Ruiz on social media, and he posted on his Instagram story the Monday after the fight that he was back in the gym already preparing for June 1st. And this is obviously days before today and the announcement. So how soon did you guys know that it may be a possibility?
Well, right from the get-go, we understood it may be a possibility. That's the reason why it was important for him to be back in the gym right away and not really take time off, because you just don't want to get caught off guard. I pretty much knew about it a couple of days ago. I found out that it was a go, but obviously I couldn't say anything, and nobody could. And let the proper people go ahead and announce the fight. And as you know now, the whole world knows we're fighting on June 1st.
Now, ideally in these situations, you would want a full camp. You would want Andy to have a few fights. Obviously, before, he hasn't fought since June, coming into this Alexander Dimitrienko fight. But what do you think that he brings that Joshua hasn't seen yet? He only has 22 fights. He is very experienced because he's fought most of the top level opposition that's been out there. But what does Andy bring that Joshua has not seen?
I definitely think that Joshua has never faced anyone like Andy Ruiz. Andy Ruiz is definitely a different type of fighter. Andy Ruiz is, in my opinion, he's probably the best heavyweight that can go to the body the way he does, that can really work the body the way he does. You know what I mean? That's something that we work on a whole lot, and I just don't think Joshua has ever seen anybody like Andy again work the body the way he does.
Definitely. Manuel Robles, let me introduce you to my UK correspondent and co-host, Akan. Akan, Manny.
Hi, Manny. How are you doing? Do you think that Andy Ruiz is somewhat at a bit of a disadvantage? Obviously, he's 5 weeks out from, or 4 weeks now, just over 4 weeks out from this huge title fight. And obviously, Anthony Joshua has been in camp for, God knows, nearly 3 months at this point. And he's essentially been preparing for a bigger guy in Jerome. I know that there is a difference in their weights, but do you think, how's the preparation now going to be in terms of his planning for this huge title fight?
Well, I mean, I don't see it as a disadvantage, as you said, because he's been in. We were facing Dimitrienko. He was in the gym for 10 weeks, so he really hasn't taken time off. Really, this last week after his fight was really the week where, he was able to go home and be with his family and kind of like relax a little bit and get himself back together again from that last fight that he had versus Dimitrienko. Obviously, a lot of that making this decision was based on the outcome of his last fight. No injuries, his hands are good, no cuts, nothing major to really be concerned about. It's just allowing this past week, allowing his body to heal and to get together, get it all together, and then now today was day number 1, where we have 5 weeks to go be ready for this fight. So, the Dimitrenko fight was kind of like a blessing in disguise because they gave him an opportunity to get in that ring and get that ring rust off and get 5 good solid rounds in there and really kind of like do what he wanted with Dimitrenko. And then look, now we got the call versus Joshua. Now we have to, obviously this is a much bigger battle. This is the biggest stage in boxing, if you ask me. So we just got to get ready for that mentally. Have to prepare for that, and obviously going back to the drawing board and being able to break down Joshua and kind of like that, dissect him and see what we can do to obviously put a game plan together and see what can work for us against Joshua.
Now, Mr. Robles, you say you've been watching and like breaking down certain things about Joshua. What's the biggest thing going into the ring that you see Joshua brings in this fight against Andy Ruiz?
Well, look, honestly, and I've said this before, I've been on your show before, and I've said this before, where I think Joshua is the best number 1 heavyweight in boxing, over Deontay Wilder, with all due respect. I mean, I just think Joshua is a more complete fighter, if you will. He can box, he can punch, he's got good ring generalship, and his mechanics are great, good fundamentals. Whereas we all know, Deontay lacks in fundamentals and his mechanics because he opens up quite a bit. He's very strong, very solid, but he makes a lot of mistakes, and that's one thing that Anthony Joshua does not do, is make a lot of mistakes. So we just have to come in prepared, mentally, physically, and there's a couple things that I've noticed from Joshua, a couple flaws that we have to go ahead and just get back to the gym and kind of like work on those things. But honestly, I would rather keep that to myself and the team, of course. And that's something that we just have to, again, put a game plan together and work on it.
How hard was it to make this fight? Because we had Luis Ortiz, trainer / manager, on last week.
Jay Jimenez,
and he was going on saying the promoter had something and Ortiz wanted something. I want to know from you, how hard was it working with Eddie Hearn and making this fight?
I look, honestly, brother, I wouldn't know because I gotta stay in my lane, man. And that isn't for me to work on. That's his management, that's his dad, manager, his team, really, management team, really, to work on the numbers and kind of like make an agreement. I don't think it was that hard, as you can see. But my job is to get my fighter ready, man. I don't even know what those numbers are. And I mean it when I say it. I don't know what those numbers are. My job again is to get my guy ready and mentally, physically, get him in the best shape possible for this fight. We don't have again, we only have 5 weeks, but I'm confident because we just came off a 10-week training camp. With the Dimitrenko fight, we got those rounds in that we desperately needed because of the ring rust. That's out the window now. We got to go and focus on Joshua.
Now, how do you prepare for this fight, being as though, have you done this? Have you been here before where, you had a fighter go through a 10-week training camp and then have to go into a high-level training camp on short notice?
Mm-hmm. You know what? Honestly, I think with my experience in boxing, I can honestly tell you that every fight is a high-level fight. There's no such thing. I've always said this. There's no such thing as an easy fight in boxing. There's no such thing as a tune-up fight. Every fight, especially at this level. Facing Dimitrenko, we got ready for Dimitrenko. We didn't take anything lightly. We definitely came in ready for this fight. And then the same thing with Joshua. Obviously, the stakes are much, much bigger, but we work. We work every day. Every day we're in the gym. We work, man. We don't play. So this is the best Andy I've seen in a long time, coming into the Dimitrenko fight, and obviously, now fighting Joshua. Can you imagine how much more hype he's going to be about the fight? So we'll definitely be ready. We're going to do the best we can to to come in prepared, and we respect Joshua. You know, he's a great athlete. He's a gentleman inside and outside the ring, but we're coming to win.
Do you think out of all the potential opponents, your fighter has the best advantage going into the AJ fight because of you already being in an AJ fight with Dominic Brazil? So you have that, I guess that advantage is what I'm hoping you know, being in there already, you get a sense, you know, a feel for him.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. Right before you guys called, I was watching the Dominic Brazil, and I'll be honest with you, I was watching Dominic Brazil versus Joshua, and this is the first time I watched the fight since that fight took place. I never saw it until now.
Wow. So, what did you see? Did you see any mistakes that Dominic made?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I'll be honest with you, I did see mistakes, but I'll tell you what. I mean, Dominic is not Andy Ruiz. With all due respect to Dominic, Andy Ruiz is a different type of fighter. Definitely a different type of fighter. So when I was watching the Dominic Brazil fight versus Joshua, I wasn't looking at Dominic. I was looking at Joshua, of course, in this particular situation, to try to, you know, see what he did wrong and also what he did right. I mean, Joshua is, again, the best heavyweight in boxing, but I truly believe that Andy has what it takes to shock the world, man.
Do you think go ahead, Akan, I'm sorry.
All good. Yeah, I wanted to ask you, in terms of Andy Ruiz and Joshua, they've both got a mutual opponent in Joseph Parker. And many people would believe that when the Joe Parker-Ruiz fight took place, that Ruiz had done enough to win the fight. So will Team Ruiz take any confidence from that at all, knowing that Anthony Joshua went 12 rounds with Joseph Parker as well? Will you take anything from that at all?
Absolutely, and we sure have. Listen, this is coming from Andy. This isn't coming from me. Andy mentioned to me, if I would have trained the way I'm working now, the way I'm training now, if I would have trained this way, the way when I fought Parker, I would have won the world title. Because he's just working differently this time around. I'm a hands-on kind of coach, you know. I like to get down and dirty with my fighters and like to get in there and work with them. If you understand what I'm trying to say, so I get in the ring and I get involved in training, you know, and maybe that's what makes me different from other coaches. Other coaches, you know, maybe they like to write down stuff on a chalkboard and you know, tell you what to do or they just have a different approach. My approach is different. With all due respect to other coaches, of course, my approach is different. And we connect. You know, we have that good chemistry where, you know, he said it himself. If I would have worked the way I'm working now, if I would have worked this way when I fought Parker, I would have won the title. So, you know, I believe he won that fight, and obviously we have to go back and watch the Parker fight versus Andy Ruiz, watch the Parker fight versus Joshua. And just, you know, watch as much film as possible and obviously, you know, come up with a good game plan. We have 5 weeks to go, but I'm pretty confident because of the fact that we just got off a 10-round camp and the fight versus Dimitrenko.
Now, with your experience in that last Joshua fight when you trained Dominic Brazil, which way are you leaning for sparring partners, or are you even going to spar with only 5 weeks out and he just came off of a fight plus a ton of sparring to prepare for that fight?
No, we're definitely looking into that as we speak. We won't start sparring until next week. And again, you know, I don't think that we need a whole lot of sparring. We don't need to do a whole lot of sparring because we did so when we just got off a fight. But it'll definitely be. You know, we're definitely looking into bringing some good quality sparring partners, and we'll definitely have to step up our game. And in other words, we don't have time to go 4, 5, you know what I'm saying, and start out slow. It's got to be high tempo right off the bat, maybe at least 6 rounds and on. You know what I mean? And then take off from there, 6, 8, 10, 12, and just get them ready.
Uh, I don't know if you've been on record talking about this or not, but I would like to get your thoughts on it. Big Baby Miller, the whole thing with him about the failed drug test and how that came about. What's your reaction to him failing multiple drug tests?
It's a shame. It's a shame for for boxing in general. I don't know what he did. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what he took, but he tested positive, man, and it's a dirty shame for him for the sport. I mean, I don't wish the guy any bad, but he made a big mistake, and now he's paying the price. You know what I mean? And now he's got to go back to square one and maybe take a couple steps back and regroup and kind of like, maybe think about the people that he's got around him. I mean, who was it that took him to take this stuff? You know what I'm saying? I mean, it must have been someone from his team or someone close to his team to really make a mistake like this. It's horrible, man. It's this is what you fight for. This is what you prepare for. Your entire life, walking into a gym as an amateur, then a pro, your dream is to fight for the world title and then obviously become a world champion. And that was taken away from him because of a silly mistake.
Well, Manny, I want to thank you, obviously, for your time. We appreciate you coming on short notice. We wish you the best in this fight. We are happy you guys accepted the fight when so many others were offered it, and for whatever reasons, those fights did not get made. I guess, can we bank on, like he can't get knocked out, right? Like, I don't see Ruiz. He's got a chin or what?
Look. What is his record now? 31-1, 32-1. He's never been dropped in his career. And when he lost to Parker, he lost a close decision where many people thought he won. So yeah, he's not going to go out there and take a dive or absolutely. No.
I'm not indicating a dive at all. I'm just saying, like, you're in the ring with him. You're in the gym. How good is that chin? Like, we haven't seen him. I mean, Joshua's the creme de la creme in terms of punching, right?
Absolutely. I believe that. I definitely believe Andy's got a hell of a chin. Going back to the Dimitrenko fighter, he caught a flush right hand to the chin, and he took it very, very well. I mean, he came back to the corner. I asked him, "Hey, how's his power, man? No problem. Let's just not get overconfident in there. You know what I mean? Don't get lazy on me," because he was dominating the fight and he just kind of like over-relaxed a little too much. We got caught with that punch. It's like, you can't be that relaxed, son. You got to stay in the fight. But he took it very well. You guys can go back and you'll see what I'm talking about. He took it very, very well. So I'm confident in that aspect. Where Andy's got a hell of a chin, man, and obviously he has the tools to go out there and shock the world. A lot of people, he takes a lot of criticism, unfortunately, for Andy. He does not have the best physique, as you all know. But looks can be deceiving, man. And one thing about Andy, man, if you get overconfident in there, believe me, he will punish you.
Well, once again, Manny, man, thank you again for giving us the opportunity to get this interview. Wish you guys the best of luck in this fight. Can't wait. It's going to be here in the tri-state area, so we'll be in New York City for it. And hope to get you back on soon as the fight gets closer. Any social media, please give it out at this time.
Manuel.boxing, Instagram and Facebook.
Thank you so much. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Manuel Robles. I'm going to let you guys go ahead and digest that. I will cut out and see if I can't bring back another special treat. But Akan, Mike, what did you guys think of the interview?
It was a good interview. Manny seems like he's very, very confident in the abilities of Andy Ruiz, even though maybe some of us in the media, some of us as fans, don't think Andy. I'm not saying he don't have a chance, but we may feel like that Joshua is the favorite. But Manny seems like to believe that his guy can get the job done and will shock the boxing world come June 2nd.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's good to know when a trainer, or to hear from a trainer when they believe and have full confidence in their fighter. He seems to believe, and to be fair, he's made a valid point in terms of, as of today, we don't know or haven't heard of anything about Andy Ruiz being knocked down, being knocked out, even in sparring. We haven't heard those kind of rumors, so it does make for an intriguing fight. If someone's never actually been knocked out before, he's lost on decision, he's never like been knocked down in sparring, so it'll be interesting to see if Anthony Joshua can do it. Team Ruiz seemed confident, and I suppose that's what you like to hear, even though it's on short notice. It's not the fight that we necessarily wanted as fight fans. It is here now, and it's been agreed. So yeah, let's see if it lives up to the amount of confidence that Team Ruiz have in their man.
And all the boxing hardcore fans know there's never been a Mexican heavyweight champion before, so Andy has that added motivation, that extra push to get the job done, man. I know it would mean a lot to him and some of the Mexican American fans that live in America.
Sorry to interrupt, Michael. I do have the legendary commentator for HBO, or formerly from HBO, Larry Merchant, on the line to talk a little boxing with us. So we'll talk, obviously, the big news first. Larry, first and foremost, thank you for taking out the time to give us this opportunity to interview you and just soak in some of your boxing knowledge. But we'd love to get your immediate reaction on Andy Ruiz Jr. being announced as the late replacement for Anthony Joshua in Madison Square Garden June 1st after the failed drug test of Gerald Big Baby Miller.
Well, in a way, this is a commentary on Miller. Miller was, from what I understand, going to make upwards of $4 million for the fight, and he couldn't stay straight. He couldn't pass serious drug tests. And to the credit of the New York Commission, which hasn't always acted appropriately, they just said, sorry, you're out of it.
And your thoughts on Ruiz stepping in, just announced today? Andy Ruiz Jr.?
Did he drop off? Yeah, you handle it in the background. Real quick, some news that just broke. The WBA has given Jarrell Miller a 6-month ban after he failed 3 drug tests. This ban does not prevent him from fighting, but disqualifies him from their rankings until late September. So even though he failed 3 drug tests, he's still able to fight, still able to earn a living, but he won't be necessarily in the WBA rankings. Boxing got to do something, man. Boxing.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
Mike. I just wanted to add a little bit more context to that. The reason for him not receiving a longer ban from, say, for example, the New York State Commission is because he actually allowed his license to expire. So he wasn't actually licensed in New York. I think he was planning to apply for a new license maybe a couple weeks or a couple days before the fight actually took place.
And
so they can't actually.
But that tells me by you letting your license expire and not getting it resolved right away, that tells me that you had a plan. I don't know what that plan was. I'm not saying that plan involved doping, but if it walked like a duck, quite like a duck, then it might be a motherfucking duck. You know what I'm saying? But back to the whole point, man. Why is this guy being allowed to earn a living and not have to suffer? I mean, financially, like performing wise, like he should be having to suffer that 6 months, or and me personally, for a second, third, fourth, fourth drug test fail, this should be like a year ban. It shouldn't be 6 months.
Minimum. So I agree, and I think what it is as well, Mike, is when I look at it, I think the WBA have dropped the ball here. I don't really know what state will, the big states in America and the big boxing states. I'm not sure which ones will license him though. So even if their ban is 6 months, it would be down to the states to determine whether they will actually provide him with a license. But irrespective of that,
that's the thing about boxing. He ain't got necessarily fighting the states. What happened with Alexander Povetkin when he failed?
Yeah, exactly. He can go abroad. He can literally go abroad.
He fought Dupas
I got Larry Merchant on. If you could just remind him, I guess we were getting your opinion on today's announcement and immediate reaction of Andy Ruiz Jr. being mentioned or being announced as AJ's opponent for June 1st.
Well, my recollection when I saw him earlier in his career that he was very fast-handed, but a little too roly-poly to compete at the highest level, which Joshua certainly represents. So until proven otherwise, he's just an opponent for the heavyweight champion. As the three elite heavyweights make their way toward fighting each other, I'm talking, of course, about Fury and Wilder as well as Joshua.
How's it going, Mr. Merchant? My name is Michael Gross. I actually want to get your reaction to this news that we just received. Jarrell Miller received a 6-month suspension from the WBA, but within that 6 months suspension, he will be taken out of the rankings, but he's not necessarily banned from fighting, so he's still allowed to earn a living. What's your reaction to that, and how can we as a sport do better and clean this kind of stuff up?
Well, right now I would say that given the history of New York State in these matters, that they're doing better. Whatever the fine is, the real fine is that he isn't going to get a $4+ million purse, which he's never approached as far as I know. So if that doesn't send a message out there, what will?
Wow. So, did you hear the list of possible opponents for AJ? Because it seems like you said, you called Andy Ruiz an opponent. Was there anyone on the short list that was more than just an opponent?
I don't know the short list, but we're talking about a very short time for an adversary to get in serious condition for maybe the biggest fight of his life. And so I just assume that there was nobody out there who had more credentials. And also, let's face it, this is a fight in the U.S., and Ortiz is, I believe, a Mexican, and that may help the gate.
You mean Ruiz is a Mexican, but you said Ortiz. You must be thinking of Luis Ortiz. He must be on your mind. You must be thinking hardcore with your hardcore brain, and you're saying Luis Ortiz was the right option for this fight?
Well, I can't say, with so many conflicts of interest in terms of network contracts and promoters, Ortiz is a very tough nut to crack. I don't know if he was anywhere near conditioned to take this kind of fight, or if they wanted to take the risk of this type of fight. So it is what it is. I think whoever the opponent is, this is not about the opponent. This is about the recognized heavyweight champion of the world making his debut in Madison Square Garden.
Mr. Merchant, there's a guy that you've seen a lot of on HBO, and he's back in action this weekend against Daniel Jacobs. Can you just give us like a quick breakdown of how you see that fight going, and if Danny Jacobs could pull off a possible upset, how he would do that?
Well, but before you change the subject, I'll just repeat that for him after this because, you mentioned that maybe the opponent can't get ready in time. I'm not sure if you know that Andy Ruiz is coming off a knockout win over Alexander Dimitrienko maybe about a week and a half ago. So he had a 10-week camp. Does that make a difference? Could he be in any better fighting shape due to just coming off of that win?
I assume he's in pretty good shape. Once upon a time, fighters used to take fights to get in shape. So with this opportunity, coming off a recent fight, having 3 or 4 weeks or so to get back into serious condition, I think it's a good choice, and I think that it's a good opportunity for him.
Oh, how's it going, Mr. Merchant? Michael here again. I was going to ask you how you saw Canelo and Daniel Jacobs breaking down, and if Jacobs could pull off that upset, how will he go about doing it?
Well, Jacobs is the bigger man. He's a big middleweight. He's a very good fighter. He's a boxer. I think he's got to exert pressure, smart pressure, and look for an opportunity to land some meaningful stuff. But they're both good boxers. The edge that Canelo has is that he, I believe, is quicker with his hands, and that's important when two guys are fighting in generally the same style. And I applaud Canelo for fighting Jacobs. I mean, when fighters get long-term multi-fight contracts, like Canelo did, over $350 million or whatever it was, an amazing deal. Normally what they try to do is get to the end of the contract by fighting the weakest opposition they can find and get away with it. I've seen that happen numerous times. But here he is. I've always felt Canelo is the kind of fighter who wants to be not just a champion, but a great man in his country. He's always taken fights that his management wasn't happy about. So credit to Canelo. It's another opportunity for Jacobs, who's a darn good fighter, and he's the best American middleweight, and it's a fight I'm looking forward to.
Okay. We all know that the heavyweight division, the welterweight division, and the middleweight division are all like the glamour divisions in boxing. What division do you personally enjoy outside of those divisions?
Well, when there's an abundance of talent in those three divisions, that's enough for me. But there's still the lightweights, Lomachenko, Garcia. You kidding me? I want to watch them fight no matter who they're fighting. The light heavyweights has some good fighters. I'm particularly interested in the Ramirez, the Mexican fighter who was unbeaten as a big middleweight, a super middleweight. Gilberto Ramirez, I think he's got a record like 39-0. He's somebody I followed for a long time, and I'm curious how he deals with some of those Russians who have dominated the light heavyweight division recently. So there are other fights, but when the welterweight division, the middleweight division, and the heavyweight division have so many fighters you want to see them fight each other, I'll take it.
Do you think Mikey Garcia is making a mistake by not going back down and wanting to stay at 147?
I don't think he's going to stay at 147. I think he'll, he built himself up into a welterweight, at least on the scale, for that gallant but ultimately failed attempt when he fought Spence. I think he's got to go back to 40 at least. And there's some guys in the 140-pound division that could make good fights with him. I don't know if he could make 135 again. But given the fact that he's an American, a Mexican-American, and showed in that fight with Spence that he can put asses in seats, Lomachenko may just have to move up a few pounds.
Over the last couple of weeks, man, there's been a lot of talk about Earl Spence. Is he the best at 147? Terrence Crawford, he's the best at 147. Bob Arum, Al Heyman, is Bob going to call Al? Have we gotten to a point where we are maybe dragging the fight out too long, or do you think that fight has still time to build to become a bigger fight?
The answer is I agree. It is a fight fans want to see. But I think it can still, in the famous words of a great trainer, it still has a while to cook. Hearns and Leonard waited several years before they finally clashed. There have been other similar situations in boxing. And ultimately, if the fight gets big enough, then they can break down the barriers between the networks and the promoters, because everybody will get rich off of it.
When the dust settles from Keith Thurman, Manny Pacquiao, Earl Spence, Sean Porter, Terrence Crawford, who do you believe will be the last standing welterweight?
I'm sorry, I don't get the question. The last stand for Pacquiao?
No. Out of those five guys that I mentioned, who do you believe will be the best welterweight? Like who will rise to the top over everybody else?
I don't know. I do know that Spence is the best welterweight in the world right this minute. I think he's a very big welterweight, and while he may fight one or two of those guys, I think that physically he's a match for any junior middleweight, and there are some good fights for him there. And I think a fight I would love to see is Spence and Canelo. They're very close.
Larry, I know you're a legend, but you've said some things in the past. Things like you wanted to see Pacquiao versus Canelo, and you thought Pacquiao was phenomenal. The rumor is Keith Thurman, Pacquiao, July 20th. If one-time Thurman defeats Pacquiao, how is he not the best welterweight? At least in your eyes, when you think so highly of Manny.
You think that makes him better than Spence, beating a 40-year-old fighter? I like Thurman. I think Thurman's a really good fighter, but he's been fragile. It's been a long time between fights. I think he probably dominates Pacquiao, but it doesn't make him Spence. Now, if he should dominate Pacquiao, a Thurman-Spence fight would settle it.
Fair enough. So, want to make any predictions for some upcoming fights? I know I
want to go back to something that he just said real quick.
Okay.
You said that you wanted to see Earl Spence and Canelo. We've been on this show, and we actually had a debate about Earl Spence and Canelo. And I believe that, in my opinion, Earl Spence will be competitive in that fight and possibly give Canelo a run for his money. But people think I'm crazy and started to laugh at me. What's your thoughts and assessment of that fight if it ever happened?
I'd give him a shot. I think he's less of an underdog against Canelo, possibly, than Garcia was against him. One of the things that surprised me, because I hadn't watched all of Spencer's fights or all of the fights. He's a better boxer than I could have recalled, and given his physical stature, the fact that he can box, he's a terrific body puncher. I would give him a shot, and I think it could be a major event.
Larry, Akan, you got something? I thought you had something. All right, no. So
yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, I had something, but it was change of topic, so it was it was moving up to the heavyweight division. So I didn't know if one of you guys still wanted to ask him a question on the current subject.
Nah, go ahead.
No?
Take it to the heavyweights.
Okay. Yeah, hi Larry, it's Akram from the UK. I just wanted to get your opinion. If the big super fights in the heavyweight division was to happen in terms of Deontay Wilder versus Anthony Joshua, who do you see winning that fight?
I don't know. I think both of them would be the best fighter either one of them has ever fought before. I think Wilder's power is a great leveler. He's much stronger than I thought he was when even just 4 or 5 years ago. He's learned to use his athleticism and to use his hands. And if he won the fight, I would not be shocked. But if you put a gun to my head, I'd have to pick Joshua. And it's the biggest fight that can be made in the world right now.
Well, there you go. Larry, those are all our questions. We do want to thank you, obviously, for coming on the show on short notice. We do appreciate you giving us the opportunity to interview you. If you're going to be in Las Vegas, we will be at Podcast Row performing our show live from there Thursday and Friday. Please do come be a guest. If not, we look forward to getting you back on the show. If you have any social media, you can give it out at this time. For anyone who wants to follow the legend can do so.
No, I'm not doing that stuff. I'll let you guys do that and just keep punching.
All right. Well, thank you so much. There you have it. The legendary Larry Merchant, formerly from HBO, obviously has covered all the big fights and given great commentary for dozens and dozens of fights that you remember.
He's still probably over there at HBO. He probably still over there on payroll doing something. You know what I'm saying? They got to keep the legend around.
Yeah, man. You know, I don't know. Give me your guys' immediate reaction to that interview and just some of the things he said. Obviously, he picked Joshua, then he shocked you, and he likes Earl. So
yeah, I mean, I like the fact that he said Earl and Canelo would be competitive, but yeah, we'll probably be in disagreement with the Earl and Crawford, and he's probably right with the fight could do a little bit more cooking, you know what I'm saying, and with the AJ thing, come on, man. Put a gun to your head and you're going to ride with a brick, you must want to die, you know what I'm saying? That's what it sounds like to me. That's what I'm saying, big dog. But yeah, I'm going with Wilder in that fight, hands down, no question about it. AJ doesn't have the head movement, doesn't have the lateral movement of, say, Tyson Fury. So he's going to be a sitting duck just waiting to get detonated on. And, yeah, man, everything else, I mean, I pretty much agree with him. I don't know. I agree with him about Mikey should go back down to 142. Like, I've been saying that for the longest. I don't think 147 is a division from him just yet. I think some guys get a little bit older. Some guys got to move out of the weight class, and then maybe you could, send second claim at 147, get a little bit stronger at 140 while doing it. But yeah, yeah, man, that's pretty much my synopsis of the interview. I want to thank him again for coming on, man. Appreciate it. Really do.
Yeah, I think it was another a great interview. It was good to have him on, and also the trainer of Andy Ruiz as well. I actually completely agree with what he said about Anthony Joshua and Wilder. I think one thing that gets overlooked in that matchup is that I think Anthony Joshua's defense is actually a bit better than Wilder's. I think he holds his hands up well. And with someone like Wilder, that's one thing that you have to be able to do. You can't be a Tyson Fury and kind of think that all that slick move, what eventually he will catch you. Doing what Tyson Fury did, I don't know whether he got too confident before the first knockdown, or he was kind of like, he was told in his corner, oh, you're winning this, just keep doing the same thing, which he technically was in many people's opinion. But once he got caught, we saw what happened. So I think in that big matchup, Anthony Joshua has a strong guard, and it's quite hard to penetrate that guard. So I completely agree with his prediction.
Goddamn sledgehammer come to that son bitch either.
But yeah, it was a great interview. Go ahead, Ness.
No, I was just gonna say for the likes. I mean, for the guy, I just don't get these people with the thumbs down. Like,
Oh man, I don't get them with the thumbs up, bro. Like 156 thumbs up. We got 596 watching.
Ridiculous.
I know it. They said, Mike, stand up. Okay, I will stand up if you give me some thumbs up. Then I sit my ass right back down.
Let me get to some callers and open
Fake
up these
ass
phone
thumbs
lines.
up people, man. These guys on YouTube are all, well, not all of them. I can't say that they're all weirdos, but 99.9% of them weirdos. If you feel like you're in that 1%, smash that thumbs up button.
Remember to rate us 5 stars on iTunes.
These calls are brought to you by El Camino Electrical Services, experts in electric vehicle charging stations. For consultations and turnkey installation, visit us at elcaminoelectricalservices.com.
Going out to No Way on Skype. No Way, what up?
What up? What it do? What the business is?
Unmute
Word on the
yourself.
street.
No Way, unmute.
I know we know how to handle here. Can you talk to her? Get your mind right? He don't even want to speak, man. Who we got up next, man? One respect guys that don't want to speak.
No Way, you there?
You gonna give him like a 4-5 roll call, huh? You must know him. That's your cousin or something calling in?
Yo, stop hating, man.
My bad, bro. Dang, you must really know him. This thing. Stop hating, bro.
I mean,
you
you
ride
just
with
a, you
niggas
just
that
a hater, man.
You can't even see.
Yo, let me go for Joseph.
You see
in
me every
Texas,
day, but
man.
you want to ride. But you want to ride with no way. Okay, I feel it.
Who triggered Mike this time? Damn. What's up, guys? Man, it's a little disappointing. I really didn't want to see Andy Ruiz get in there with AJ, but I mean, what can we do? You know, it's kind of it's a decent name to salvage the fight, I guess you could say. But I just want to say, great interview, guys. I appreciate you guys' hard work, getting a good interview. And Larry Merchant, man, he's known for speaking those fights into existence. Nobody ever thought De La Hoya versus Pacquiao was a realistic possibility, except him. Nobody ever thought Margarito Pacquiao was a realistic possibility, except him. So he can help push that Spence Canelo thing, and I'd love to see that fight. I don't know who I'd go. It'd be tearing my heart in half.
Yeah, I mean, but that was when he was more active, right? Like he was on premium cable
yeah, that was
network.
way back.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah,
and he had a lot
back.
more reach than he does now.
But the boxing boys got a lot of reach, man. You know they listen. Cut it.
Appreciate the kind words. Use that boomerang status. Gonna keep these lines moving.
Just like the king is what I mean. The king is what I mean. My man, get a cup and put some change inside your hand.
Yo, TBV, what's good, fellas?
What's
up? The deal, man? What's going on, homie?
Yo, shout out to my man Akon. What's good, brother? How you feeling?
How you doing, man?
Listen, I got a quote Naseem Hamed. Larry, give me room to breathe, Larry. I'm surprised we ain't had that quote in the sound bank right there. That's, the great Naseem Hamed, Prince Naseem Hamed out the UK. Just going back, throw that out there for y'all that don't know. Listen, Ruiz is a better opponent he doesn't have the time to have trained properly. A properly trained Ruiz, to me, we talking about the same Andy Ruiz that just fought, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yo, Andy Ruiz is like me when I was fat. That nigga got hands, and usually a real fat nigga don't got no hands. He got hands for a fat nigga, though. If you give him more time to train, I think it's a more intriguing fight because Miller, as big as he is, he's not as strong as people give him credit for. I don't know the science behind all of what they said he was using. The fight is not going to be exciting. Ruiz is going to go in there and show heart. I just don't think he had enough time. I mean, every fighter trains to fight the best. So will he have trained with Joshua in his sights? Of course. But I just don't think it's enough time to really prepare and game plan, to watch footage or however you go about preparing for a top-tier opponent.
Cut it.
Going out to more boomerangers in Texas.
JD, motherfucker.
There's a lot of things I like to move, so just try to get on my game. I don't know why they gonna call me, but I'm a 54-pounder. But I have a brother that's at 160.
Yo, I was hoping that I was hoping that Ortiz could have, they could have finagled their way back into the run-ins, but oh well, you can't cry over spilled milk, right? That being said, man, listen, Ruiz, he went at it with Parker. They went at it, and like the trainer said, you could have easily. I actually had Ruiz winning that fight. And if you look at Joseph Parker and Joshua, not the best fight to watch, but competitive wise, Parker was in the game. So that being said, I mean, I wouldn't completely count Ruiz out. I wouldn't count him out. He's a heavy hitter, quick hands for a heavyweight. I just don't see him getting past Joshua's jab. That's all. Like, even though he got the little head movement and all that, I just think that jab is going to catch him.
Cut it.
No way on Skype. Talk to me. No way. I hear you. You just got to talk, brother. You killing my show. Once, twice, bye. Going out to long-time listener.
On the boxing voice. There's nothing wrong about taking punishment.
Yeah. It's Blackface on the microphone. Respect to everyone listening in the past, present, and future. If the fight's been, well, it sounds like the fight's officially been made, but I'm not really necessarily happy with it. I don't know really much about Andy Ruiz Jr. really. I think I did watch his Parker fight, but I can't remember the spectacle in relation to what happened to it. In relation to Ruiz, I mean, yeah, it looks like he puts butter on both sides of the bread and gargles cheeseburgers, but, I try not to, look at boxers' physiques and stuff, because they all throw hands and they all can fight, but, will it be a competitive fight? Maybe. I know Joshua had a stand-in with Takam, and I'm sure Takam took him 11 or 10 rounds or something like that. It was it wasn't difficult, but it was hard work-ish for Joshua. So once the fight comes around, June the 1st or whenever it is, we'll see what happens. So yeah, that's all I really got to say. Really. Oh, and respect for the Larry Merchant.
Cut it.
Donald, Richmond, California, talk to me.
What up, Donald?
What's up? I think that's a good fight because Andy Ruiz got good hand speed, and I can understand why they picked him because Jarrell Big Baby Miller was like a big dude, so they probably looking at the physique, and they just wanted to try to put Joshua in there with someone with the same kind of physique. Also, somebody who's going to put on a good fight. And since they're looking at the fact that Andy Ruiz, he already lost to Parker, they don't look at him as a big threat, but they do look at him as a good opponent that could put on a good fight. And I don't think that Joshua will stop him. I think it will go to distance, and I think that it's going to be competitive to where some people will be like, ooh, he put up a good fight with Joshua, you know. And as Joshua begins to be more into the U.S., that fight with Ruiz, they're going to be like, gosh, if you kind of put him in there with somebody a little bit more tough, who's to say if they don't come take them belts from him? Because I think it's going to be a real competitive fight.
Cut it, cut it, cut it, cut it.
Dominic, Seattle.
Hell, yo, what's good? What's good? I mean, I think it'll be a real easy fight for Anthony Joshua. Come to America, get some fame, knock out somebody that was about to be somebody. You know, I think Andy Ruiz should have worked his way up a little longer. He should have not taken the fight. But that's my call.
All right. Well, let's go out to Boomeranga in California.
I won't deny it.
Dazn Productions.
Come with me. Hail Mary, what we see. What do we have here now? Watchwords.com.
Dazn Productions.
Yo, TBB, what's going on, man? Another show. Greatest boxing podcast out, man. Sorry, I'm driving right now. Hey, Ness, wanted to say, man, I've been watching Andy Ruiz when he was with Top Rank, man. I used to watch him over in Lemoore, California, man, fighting underneath the tent. Man, this guy's a beast, man. This guy's his hands, man. Hands of stone. Anthony Joshua better watch out, man. I'm picking Andy Ruiz to take him out, just like he beat Parker. So I'm hoping he does it again. Another great performance from the Destroyer. And second thing I want to hit you up with was I'm glad to see PBC is working with Dazn on that one, man. I remember we had a call a couple days ago, and I had questioned that. So I got to give it up to Al Heyman right now. Online, man, it was almost like eating crow. I got to give it up to Al Heyman, man. He's working with Dazn. So that squashes all that right there.
Cut it.
Oh, shit. Shout out to Girl Scout Cookies. Where my man at?
Boxingvoice.com.
It's money to shit. Working that wrist. Ballin' like Swish. Diamonds wet like a fish. Pull up with them sticks. Come fuck with the clique. We fucked on your bitch. She sucking the dick. I'm whipping the work.
Hey, yo, what's going on? It's your boy H Money, Mr. Dazn, the Boxing Voice 2019 Rookie of the Year. And I just want to talk about Anthony Joshua. And yes, he is the best. And yes, he is the boogeyman. And everybody's been ducking him. Like Eddie Hearn say, you got people putting needles in their asses trying to beat this guy. Come on now. Who can beat the champion? Nobody can beat him. Undefeated, bruh. So only 29 years old, the cash cow. Let's put some money up. Andy Ruiz, he going to sleep. He coming from PBC. We gonna make an example of Andy Ruiz, bro. We gonna serve him up with a two-piece, bro. Put him to sleep. Luis Ortiz can get it next. You know, the only person I respect is Deontay Wilder, the WBC heavyweight champion of the world. Salute my brother Deontay. And shout out to the show, bro. We working every day. And Ness, hopefully we can get Devin Haney, bro. Thank you, Ness. Thank you. I appreciate that. You know that's my favorite fighter. You know it's Eddie Hearn, man. Eddie Hearn making moves. And you know that, Ness. That's your boy. You the only one that support Eddie Hearn. Everybody else.
Cut it.
Edward, Alabama, talk to me.
Yeah, I think this is the best alternative opponent since Ortiz shit the bed. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about Ruiz, man. Maybe coming off the fight recently, he'll be a little more conditioned. Hopefully, he doesn't go home and let loose or whatever. It'll be an exciting fight. You Like I said, it's not Big Baby, but at least it's not no steroid cheating ass person either. So on short notice, it's as good as it gets. So I'm happy with it. You know what I'm saying? As far as the Spence Canelo, I'm like, why are you guys trying to get Spence killed, man? I don't understand that this fighting Canelo mess, man. He got a whole lot of fights at the weight class he's in. Why are we trying to send him up to a big 160-pounder guy and get beat up? I don't understand this, man.
Mike. That's
ridiculous.
Mike. That's Mike, because he need him to fight Canelo before he fight Crawford, so he could be damaged goods. That's how Mike thinking.
No. I want to.
Yeah, exactly, man. That's really what it is, man.
First, and then you go up to 160.
Oh, he said spank.
Hey, if that's the case,
Yo, you said spank Crawford first. I love it.
I said you go fight Crawford first, bro. Don't try to.
I heard spank,
that
man.
shit
I heard spank, man.
I thought you said spank too.
Yeah, word up.
Y'all need the dominatrix, man.
We going out to Brandon in Cincinnati.
What's good, TVV? I want to give, shout out to Andy Ruiz. He stepped up, took the fight. He ain't complained about not probably having a long training camp. He saw the opportunity and he took it. So credit to him for that, for showing some balls, because a lot of people had the shot they didn't want to do it, and let this be a lesson to these fighters. You never know when your opportunity's gonna come. So if you stay ready, you ain't gotta get ready. Don't be blowing up, getting all out of shape in between fights, because boxing is a sport where people get injured, people test positive for shit. So you never know. One day you might have an opportunity like this. And Andy Ruiz took it when his number was called, so I gotta give him credit. So I hope he does well, but I don't think he's gonna win. But that's my call. I'll see you guys tonight for Untitled.
Yes, sir.
Brandon, man, thanks for calling in. We got JCB. Talk to me. Jay on Skype. Unmute yourself. If you don't know your name's Jay, check your username. Jay going once. Jay going twice. You just unmuted.
Hello.
There you go. Talk to us.
What up?
Yes, I wanted to call in and tell him about Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn was saying that he made a negotiation with Ortiz, and when 3 days later he said that they came back to him and then he didn't want to negotiate. How come he didn't go back to negotiate with Ortiz's team?
I don't know, man, but that's spilled milk, champ. Like, Ruiz got the fight. It's over, man.
No one wants to see Ruiz fight.
Yeah, I know, man, but we never get what we want, right?
Need to sort it out, man.
Too late, brother.
Only one dude could do that, man. His name is Eddie Hearn, brother.
AJ versus Ruiz. He took the fight.
He got the
fight. Some people didn't take the fight.
Stepped up to the plate. All right, Jay. Got a lot of background noise. You guys got to stop eating fucking potato chips while you're calling in. Touch Potential on Skype.
I guess. Okay, now we're back. Well, yeah, maybe y'all eat fish and chips. This nigga trying to call, man. What's going on? You making calls on here now?
Man, that's Blog Talk always disconnecting, man. They got me aggravated sometimes.
Okay.
And we had callers on there. Let me see if I could get them connected in time. But in the meantime, we're going to No Way or Touch Potential. One of y'all two on Skype. Ready?
Yo, what's happening, man?
What's happening, Touch?
Yeah, man, I'm good, man. I'm well disappointed, man. I was really thinking about coming to the Garden on June 1st. I was recently there about 2 weeks ago, and I was really considering it, but I can't come out.
You were there for 2 weeks ago.
I was just visiting family in Long Island, so just done the whole US trip, man. Statue of Liberty, Central Park. And I was in Long Island, man. I can't remember, man. Where Prodigy was originally from. Okay. But yeah, it's all good. But yeah, I was gonna come. But I can't come at my house for Lewis for Andy Ruiz. I know he knocked out Wilder in his 13th fight, but That's not enough for me to come, you know. That's not enough for me, you know. He looks too round. I think this fight's for the girls. Really, I think they want Eddie wants the women to focus on Joshua's physique versus Ruiz's physique. And maybe that's one way of selling the fight, man. But that's not the kind of fight that I want to see. I want to see something more competitive. I would have wished the Louise fight would have been on offer. That would have been a proper fight. This one is one round. One round. I'll be willing to take that bet with anybody. Definitely one round, and he'll be out. No doubt about that.
I'll take that bet with you. Why?
Yeah, I can. Let's do it, man.
He's not taking Ruiz out in one round.
Cut it, cut it, cut it, cut it.
Noah.
What's going on? What's going on, TBV, man?
What
First and foremost, man, don't nobody want to see Andy Ruiz get punched in his face, man. I mean, I'm happy for Andy. I'm happy for Andy that he gets to fight, he gets the payday, he gets the opportunity to be a champ. Good for Andy. That ain't what I want. What I do like is Keith Thurman talking that shit to Pacquiao. Did you hear him do the Pacquiao impersonation? I am going to be a real senator. And, yeah, that's what I like to hear. I like to hear Keith Thurman talking that shit again. That get me excited for him and Spence again. Yeah, that's good because this guy for sure is depressing. So, yeah, man. What else? Larry Merchant, first time in his life, he actually sounded sane and lucid. I actually enjoyed that interview. Beautiful. I was surprised by some of his picks because, you know, I kind of had him marked for a racist, but, you know, that was my fault. Yeah, man. Other than that, man, keep up the good work, man. Y'all working hard, bro. It's TBV for life, man.
Cut it, cut it, cut it.
Marcus, DC, talk to me.
Yo, what's up, Boxing Voice? Yo, I just came off of YouTube hitting the thumbs up, and then I call in. So y'all stop stealing from the show, man. Y'all can give a thumbs up and call in, man. You know what it is, man. All y'all phones got YouTube. Y'all watch a bunch of brides fighting and twerking and shit. Get on the joint, put the thumbs up, hang up, call in. If you ain't gonna call in and you listening on YouTube, come on, put the thumbs up, stop jipping these men, man. Way to put in that good work, man. Y'all know I just got on the call, but I was listening to y'all. Look, check this out with Andy Ruiz, man. Listen. When is all these AJ? I had to say it earlier, man. This the area where all the fools lose their wool. You know what I'm saying? All the sheep go to sleep, man. Listen, AJ fight number tune-ups. I don't want to hear no more of these AJ protectors calling in talking about any of these other joints. Big Baby was a high fight because of the magnitude of it, and he got to take the Ruiz fight. But the reality is he should have been fighting Deontay. He know it, I know it, and y'all know. Stop protecting this man. He could fight Deontay Wilder. He could have fought Dillian White a second time, and he keep on trying to get these people these $3 million joints on big fights. We know back in the day when Mayweather did that, Pacquiao did it.
Cut it.
I mean, Boomerang, talk to me.
Yo, real quick, shout out to my man N.O., shout out to Marcus from D.C. Look, Andy Ruiz, who's the Alex Lemon said that, right? When he called me, he's talking about Andy Ruiz being over at Top Rank before. Andy Ruiz being over at Top Rank before.
Of course, Mr. Top Rank
Listen,
said that.
Andy. Yo, but his resume, because of that, even though it's the Top Rank diet, which I got to get one of them shirts. To me, his resume still reads better than Miller's resume. I'm out. Y'all can get me up out of here, and I know y'all coming back later with some fly shit. TBV, I'm out.
That is true. That was like what we argued. Sir Douglas, you haven't pressed 1 if you're just listening. No doubt. We out. Yeah, man. Catch us on Patreon in a few minutes for Untitled.
Yeah, man. White Walkers Avengers. Let's go.
That's right. Damn, don't sound so excited. Yeah, White Walkers again.
I'm hungry. Motherfucker, my stomach just got done grabbed.
Oh, so what we doing? 8 o'clock Patreon then?
Nah, man. Did you out the way? Let's get out the way.
Yeah, my final thoughts on it is I think people have to remember that Andy Ruiz actually has nothing to lose. He's got a nice payday. We're assuming he's got a nice payday. He's coming to that fight with nothing to lose. Not the fight everyone wanted to see, but a man that's got nothing to lose can be dangerous. So yeah, Catch you in the next one. Make sure you like and subscribe, guys.
Yes, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Obviously, numbers are power, and we can continue to get big name interviews like this for you on a daily basis on the podcast, as long as you continue to like and subscribe. Like I said, man, numbers is power, man. First you get the power, then you get the money, then you get the motherfucking respect. Yo, we out.
Yes, sir.